motion. Drop the clutch, pedal to the floor. Turn that giddy button to a lion's roar. Dream machine, racing queen. I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's blow this town, break the speed of sound. Tonight we own the road. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Red on the highway, blue lights flashing behind me. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Red on the highway, blue lights flashing behind me. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat. You make my heart beat.
My mic was muted the whole time, so I'm going to repeat all of that. Good evening, everyone. It's Ryan Hill with you in the booth. This is Simray South Africa. I have with me Nick. Nick Hudson, how are you doing?
Good evening, Ryan. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our second round for the 2024.2B season. It is simGT, and we are at Kyalami tonight. A very, very hot Kyalami, it's looking like, Ryan.
Yeah, it does look nice and warm, but yeah, good to be back on a home circuit, so to speak. And 43 degrees, I think I saw the track temperature at, so yeah, it is quite toasty out there.
Tell you what, it's definitely mirroring real life. It was absolutely scorching this weekend, and it's good to see that we are giving these drivers a little bit of a challenge. Those tires are going to be absolutely crying out for some mercy tonight.
Indeed, I've got the weather up on the screen, so there you see it officially now. Ambient temperature across the weekend, average of 30. We are at 5 o'clock in the sort of late or early evening simulated, late afternoon. And certainly putting out some really, really hot temperatures. The track layout, of course, I'm sure will be familiar to most, if not all. Up in Joburg, Kyalami. Just got the track map up on screen right now. And we also have a little Coach Dave hot lap, which I will jump straight into because we're running a little bit late this evening. So without further ado, here is the hot lap. All right, we are back. Just quickly bringing up some of the lap records that have been clocked by some of the drivers on track tonight for Division 1. There's a couple of duplicates in this list. This is where one driver may have raced in different GT3 cars across the years. With us on SGP, I can see Paul Fenter topping the log in a Honda late last year, and then later on in a Ferrari. Somewhere around the 141, low 141s, high 140s, and generally seeing a trend across the field down to about the 142s. Expecting some really fast laps tonight. I think with the hot, sticky conditions, I assume that'll produce some good grip and not be too detrimental with the heat. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Interesting to see. Certainly, we won't see too much graining on the tires. Definitely going to see some blistering. I would imagine, given that the track right now is optimum, which is great, but still 43 degrees for qualifying, you'll probably get away with things just because you'll do a couple of laps, come in and chuck on a new set of tires. But I think for the race, guys are definitely going to be struggling on them. In terms of doing a full long stint, they're definitely not going to like these conditions whatsoever. And I did see Paul Fenter for a while was topping the timing sheets, but Hannes van Wyk in that BMW, we've seen Hannes in that BM for quite a few seasons now, and at the moment topping the time sheets on a 141.2, just pops out of the pits looking to go and improve, especially as Mark van Rensburg in that Ferrari. He has of course switched from the Lamborghini from last season into that Ferrari, and looking to challenge Hannes van Wyk. But Mark van Rensburg currently in second position, just 600ths of a second behind. Other people to look out for. Hardus Boyce often has a pretty good qualifying, and I'd expect him to be right up there. And of course, Ross Bartle, quickest of the McLaren so far. We'll have to see how everybody else pans out. But definitely looking like a bit of a Ferrari versus McLaren, just in terms of numbers tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, it really is indeed, but also really nice to see a different manufacturer up on top there. As I think Hannes had a little bit of a moment there, but the BMW is up on top right now. Also, just looking at some of the favorites, so we saw the championship standings table on stream a brief while ago, and there's actually a tie for the lead currently between Paul... oh no, it's not a tie, I lie. Paul Fenter is on 134 points, Ross Bartle is on 128. So even though Ross came away with a victory, I think in the last race, I think relative to round 1 and round 2, I think Paul earned a couple more points just to have the edge or the nose in front, so to speak. And I see he's currently sitting in P3 provisional, at least, with the last 5 and a bit minutes of quali left to go.
Nice to see Mark Sutton up there as well.
Indeed, just pulling out of the pits yet again in his Red Bull Racing liveried Ferrari.
Yeah, just 7/10 off the quickest time, which is now Mark van Rensburg. I was saying maybe Mark was going to go out and do a bit of a quicker time. He was in second. Now sitting in first position, it's Hannes van Wyck's turn to just be 700ths of a second off provisional pole. Paul Fenter sort of rounding out the top 3 at the moment, half a second off Hardus Boyce, Ross Bartle, Sean Bingham, Mike LaRue, all of those guys.
It's really close.
Off pole. That is close. I mean, if you look at those times, 2 guys, Bingham and LaRue, exactly the same time. Absolutely identical. So these guys really know Kyalami pretty darn well. Local track for most of our drivers, of course, in terms of that most of our guys are in South Africa or from South Africa or have some sort of South African connection. Whether or not these guys have actually driven around Kyalami, I'm not sure. But yeah, most would regard this, I guess, as their local track in ACC at least. I'm just looking up and down. We've got one Ford out there tonight. That's out there tonight. That's Ashley Moritz. And one Porsche, of course, Mr. Jason.
The one and only Jason Luck, yeah.
Yes. Of course, remember, Kyalami has traditionally been a Porsche track.
That's
it's
true.
Always been a place where Porsche has done very, very well. So, will that continue tonight? We'll have to wait and see. But there's only one man who can do that tonight, and that, of course, is Jason Luck.
Yeah, currently sitting in P10. I think it looks like he's going to try and get out there for one more flying lap. I see his car up on the jacks, seemingly gone back in the garage. But yeah, with the lap times of a 1:41, I think if you're not on a hot lap now and you're sitting in the pits, you pretty much got to get out now if you want to have your out lap done in time. So for now, Hannes, I see Mark van Rensburg's actually just taken provisional pole. Ahead of Hannes van Wyck, so he seems to be running very wide there as well. Who else have we got up on their deltas, according to my timing log? Von Groenewold is up slightly on P20. Let's see now. There we go. He's just bumped himself up to P13 as he crosses the line and goes into T1. See Fridge Findlay back on track as well. I think he skipped the last race.
Yeah, good to have Fridge back. We were racing at Swartkorps over the weekend, so we know exactly how hot it can be out there. Good to see him on track. We'll have to see how well he can do. Hasn't been as consistent as we've seen him in the past, so whether he can string a good race together, we'll have to see. Certainly capable of doing so. But whether or not he can convert, Martin Groenewold in 13th, that's not bad for Martin. I'm sure he'll be fairly happy with that right now. Sitting in the pits, though, with 1 minute to go. That'll be his qualifying done. Let's see, who else have we got out there? Who's on a good lap right now, Ryan?
It's difficult to say with these deltas, and the app is not the greatest at all. It's not really revealing to me who's up on their delta.
I can tell you for free that Mark van Rensburg thinks he's done about as best he can in sitting in the pits with a minute to go, so he certainly won't be improving. It's all now down to whether or not Hannes van Wyk can just get a little squeaky bit extra time. Oh, he hit the curbs very badly there and went very wide. I think that's going to be his lap done, unless he's just trying to get across the line for another one. 50 seconds to go. Should be able to. No, he pulls off. Pulls off Paul Fenter.
See, Ross Bartle is about to cross the line. Sorry to interrupt. 0.3 up, and he bumps up to 3, P3.
Aha, right. So Ross breaks the half a second gap. Right. So we've got 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 in qualifying. That's pretty darn good. I was saying that the track limits are pretty generous.
Yeah.
In that right-hander, that fast right-hander. So some of you may have seen him going wide, or a little bit wide, but it'll have been fine. Not going to be a problem.
Crosses and pulls off in P5.
Sean Bingham looks like he's still on a lap. One of the last front-running guys to be on a lap.
He's down on his delta there. Wide. Yeah, no, he's spilled that one, unfortunately. Don't have too many other drivers still out there on track. We've got Donovan Marks. Nope, he stopped. Armand de Bod. What's he doing? He is up 0.3, 0.4 on his best. Ooh, he's just invalidated as I say that. So that's going to be all for naught. Timothy Gomez is about to cross the line, but he's only going to improve by 0.05, so I don't expect him to move up. Yep, stays P17. Moritz Kirkkamp is pulled off, so I think that is it. As things stand, Mark van Rensburg takes pole, Hannes van Wyk lines up alongside him. Paul Fenter and Ross Bartle will be filing into row number 2. And we will be back in a couple of minutes, 2 minutes, with the session start. BRB. Right, so there you've just seen on screen how to join today. Go to simracesa.co.za and you can find the links to our Discord in the top menu. 30 seconds. And we race all year round pretty much. We've got the GT3s that you can see on screen here tonight. We've also got alternating with the Volvo S40. And then we've also got a revitalized rally championship, thanks to Dirk Brand spearheading that effort. And we've got at least 15, 16, I think, active rally drivers, all taking part in that. And it seems to be rotating every 1 to 2 weeks, setting up a new set of stages. That's been a lot of fun, I must say, on the new EA WRC game, that is.
the Rally Championship making a comeback. That's really great.
Yeah. And if there's enough serious interest for it, and it's the interest stays strong, should I say, till the end of the year, I think we're going to entertain running a formal Sim Rally Championship that can earn some Hall of Fame honors, I would say, for next season. So here are the cars that are starting on their formation lap, pulling off in single file, and then they'll eventually feed back into double file in the last few corners. It's a good opportunity now just to say how's it to everyone in the chat. How's it to Dan's Odyssey, Nico, Flavio, Kali. Just find off in chat who you're supporting tonight. I'll do my best to pass those on. Also, if you want to see any particular drive on stream that we're sort of not giving enough airtime to, just give us a shout. And also a good opportunity to say thanks very much to our sponsors. Starting with our gold sponsor, JooTech Simworks. They manufacture really awesome custom sim rigs and sim racing products as well. And local provider, of course. Before I immigrated, I commissioned them to build me a custom foot pedal box, which was absolutely excellent. Loved that thing before I sold it on. But they do all sorts of things like full-on GT rigs, F1 style rigs, all sorts of add-ons. But then again, they can do some custom stuff for you if you so wish. And they sponsor our simracing.gp subscription that allows us to race. And then also a big shout out to our silver sponsor, and that is Ashley Wilson with his business ALM Solutions. They sponsor our practice servers for us 24/7, both the Assetto Corsa as well as ACC practice servers with an infinite grid size. They've just thrown whatever power we need to get enough grid slots on the grid. So that's really awesome. It just allows guys to put in the practice.
Yeah, absolutely. It is fantastic to have sponsors on board, and a massive shout out and a big thank you to all the guys who have come to the party to help SimRace SA. Sim racing has come such a long way since the days when we started all those many years ago, and things like servers and getting a league running properly, even one as humble as SRSA is, there is a cost associated with that, and we thank you guys an awful lot for your help and continued support. We're about to go racing though.
Indeed, rounding the final corner now, drivers will be lining up in double file. They'll be maintaining their speed limit of under 70 k's an hour, maintaining a position as well, so that hopefully they don't get any sort of penalty, which is quite easy to do off the start if you're not paying attention. And here we go. Green lights, go, go, go.
Looks like everybody's getting a pretty good start, but now we're going into turn one. Of course, a very wide corner entering, but it narrows up extremely. Wow, Paul Venter and Hannes van Wyk absolutely side by side, rubbing his racing there, I think, but keeping it clean. Looks like Paul Venter has squeaked through though, and is in second position, but Ross Bartle has now pounced and taken that third position from Hannes van Wyk. We have the tower, of course, doing its usual ACC thing, but I do believe that we have everybody looks to be away. I don't see any carnage in the background at the moment.
Yeah, pretty clean getaway by the entire field. Not so many upsets, I don't think. And indeed, I think just Paul Venter sneaking his way and muscling his way in between. Who's at the top? It's Van Rensburg, of course, and Bartle.
Yeah, so Van Rensburg from Venter, from Bartle, from Van Wyk. So we have had a little bit of a change up at the front. Boyce, Bingham, LaRue rounding out that top 7 at the moment. Then there does look to be a little bit of a gap forming down to De Bod. A little bit of a McLaren train there, 8th, 9th and 10th. Van Rensburg does look to be pulling a little bit of a gap on this first lap. Was 0.6 of a second when they go across the start-finish line. I wouldn't be surprised to see that slightly extended. Yep, there we go, 0.7 of a second, although it does have Paul Venter at the fastest lap at the moment. But I think that's due to the overtakes. It does look like Bartel has a lot of mirror, full of Hannes van Wyk, full of BMW.
That giant radiator intake, it's all over the back of him.
Yeah, I imagine that BMW will be slightly quicker down the straights. It wasn't enough to affect an overtake, though. And it looks like Bartel is going to live to see another lap in third position at the moment. We do have, who's that? Hardest Boyser is pretty close to the back of Van Wyk as well. If I remember correctly from the previous rounds, Bartel has maybe struggled to get the tires working to his liking at the start of a stint and at the end of a stint. We'll have to see if he's found the magic formula for that. But certainly at the moment is slipping back from Paul Venter very, very slightly. Just about a second between them. And of course, it doesn't help having that BMW right in your rear view mirror the whole time to make you think about the guy behind you and not the guy ahead of you. But Paul Venter does seem to have stabilized that gap to Van Rensburg for the moment.
The temperature's looking a little cooler than they were in quali. I think it was a 43 track temp in quali. Now it's cooled slightly to 40 degrees, but still nice and hot out there.
Oh, we got side by side going down through the mine shaft in 17th position. Oh, who is that? Somebody, it looks like the Lambo going up the inside, making an incredible move on Martin Groenewald, I believe.
Oh, of course.
Martin's off.
Pops
Is he going to spin? Oh, he just maintains there.
To hold that. That was well held because that can so
Sorry, that
easily.
wasn't Martin.
It was Moritz Krokamp, I think.
It was Krokamp. Sorry, I got my drivers slightly mixed up there. Apologies, Martin. Apologies, Moritz. But well held. Absolutely
well held. That curb as well. It's so raised that if you just get it wrong and launch the car over there, you almost just become a passenger. And given how cars sort of condense into Ingwe, I mean, that can just result in disaster for an innocent bystander.
We've got Bartel. It looks like Bartel has been passed, I'm guessing down into Crowthorne, but he is all over the back of Hannes van Wyk, clearly unhappy about getting passed. With the power of that BMW and going through the S's now, you can see the BMW is just able to put the power down slightly better, and it just gives Hannes that little bit of breathing room. But Hannes is now up to third, so we got Ferrari first, Aston Martin second, BMW third, and McLaren fourth, with another Ferrari of Hardest Boyser trying desperately to hang on to the back of those two battling cars ahead. But it does seem like Bartel and Van Wyk have a slight pace advantage over Boyser at the moment, who has got Sean Bingham for company. Those three Ferraris, all absolutely nose to tail. Looks like Mike LaRue going for a little bit of a move there, didn't quite make it happen and runs wide into the final corner. But looking to get a double slipstream, doesn't look like it's going to work. Even Bingham.
These are also teammates here, Bingham and Boyser, as far as I know, both racing for TTA, just seeing their liveries look identical there as well. So that could be quite interesting how they play out this scenario, just to try and help each other, or not hinder. I don't know if there's team orders per se, but you still want to, play ball a little and work as a team.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've seen Mike LaRue behind them. We've seen Mike put in some absolutely incredible laps over the seasons in a variety of different cars, different competitions. So we know that he's got a quick lap in him, but will he be able to work his way past Bingham? Certainly, this little battle between Bingham and LaRue is allowing Boyser just a little bit of breathing room to put a gap between those teammates. See Roxanne Bartel now. She's
heading on to the back of Timothy Gomez.
Correct, and
he's left the door open there a little.
He has. He's gone very wide, and Bartel's going to slot in behind, try and get a bit of a slip. But you can see there's quite a train of cars here as well.
Yeah.
If you're just looking at the track map, this is quite a little bit of a gaggle of cars, and we have one ahead as well. So these drivers sort of starting to find their form, find their pace, and find their battles. Of course, here it's SRSA. You are always going to find a battle
in the background.
Is
that
going up the inside. Bartel going
Finley.
up the inside of Gomez. Is it?
Yeah, Finley also just made a pass on Myberg, just behind that action. So yeah, and then you caught Bartel going side by side with Gomez, and it looks like she's going up the inside of Ingwer. No, wait, sorry, this is into T1.
No, this
They passed it, yeah.
Through Crowthorne, and looks like that move is made. Fantastic move from Roxanne there. Will she be able to break away from this pack? Ooh, who's
There's
going up the
behind.
inside there?
Yes, De Beer.
De Beer is gone up the inside of Gomez. So Gomez has lost 2 positions in as many corners. And of course, Finley is now looking to get in on the Gomez action and does so as well. My goodness. Timothy Gomez has unfortunately lost 3 positions in 3 corners. And now has, who's that, Mybra all over the back of him. Runs wide as well, going into the S's. Luckily, there's no way to overtake there.
Onto the curb, very wiggly, and De Beer just steps out a little, which is going to allow Bridget. Who's running slowly there? Is that Gidrius, Group A?
Might be.
Yeah, in the orange and black McLaren. He's running very slowly. I wonder if he's got some sort of damage or issue. Well, he seems to be pedaling along now, but side by side with Timothy Gomez.
Oh, that was close. That was close.
Locked back in.
The Lambo going up the inside doesn't quite make it work, but Gomez has now been passed by Mybra as well. Myberg, sorry. I tell you what, that's a pretty intense battle, but we do also have another one up front. Those 3 Ferraris,
Mike
5th,
LaRue.
6th, and 7th, also absolutely nose to tail. I think Findlay on Bartel. Oh, very close. Findlay weaving a little bit under braking behind, of course, is allowed to do so, but that's not going to be the best for braking performance. Does look like Fridge has a little bit of damage on the front of his Ferrari there. I don't know if you're seeing that as well. It looks like a little bit of...
He is running side by side now, trying to get the inside line on Bartel, and I think he's just done it. He's just swinging around. Oh,
yeah.
Bartel.
That
Yeah,
should
there
be
you go.
done.
Slots in.
Yeah. Great move. Hard racing from both drivers, but fair racing as well. That's fantastic to see.
Just looking at this camera angle now, yeah, the front of his Ferrari is definitely scuffed. I don't see any lifted panels though, so maybe just minor aero damage. Very
I would
minor.
say so, yeah. Yeah, it's unlikely he's going to get that fixed come pit stop time, but certainly a second-hand Ferrari, that one at the moment. In general, I must say, so far, we've seen these drivers keeping things very clean.
Ooh, Mike LaRue, I've just jumped back to him. He got some very aggressive curb ride there, just through Ingwer, and he's slotted in now, just hunting down Bingham. Looked like he had a good run on him, and actually, despite going over the curb. And we'll have to see the run down to T1. This is actually T2, because the one is technically that mini kink off the straight.
Jason Luck in 17th has gone up the inside of Timothy Gomez into the last corner, has taken that position, but he has got everybody absolutely around, and this is going to be three wide. Wide.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 3 wide. My goodness, gents, absolutely. This is proper racing. Keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean.
I think there's some,
and well done from everyone.
Inevitable. I think Gidrius has been spun around, but
yeah,
I think everyone else managed to just get away with that. I saw Marks being the sandwich in the middle there. He has a big drift.
Someone big moment. Yeah, big moment.
Malcolm Marks, Donovan Marks, having a massive moment around. I think it was just after barbecue.
Trying to take the drifting crown off Jason Luck himself, who we've seen drift that Porsche like an absolute champion before. Looking at the front of Jason and the back of Jason's Porsche, he's also clearly had a couple of
Yeah.
dents and dings. I wonder if him and Findlay came together at some point. But clearly, it's
That
you know,
rear
both
end
front
is-
and the
yeah,
rear.
Yeah.
But he has managed to find himself a bit of clean air after so many drivers trying to share the same piece of racetrack.
I see
Oh,
Tyrone
Mike LaRue
Myberg.
spun. Mike LaRue
Oh,
has
no.
spun. He's into the pit entrance. I think he must have got it wrong through that fast right-hander. So easy to do.
I'm going to
if you
jump
just
back
clip.
30 seconds and let's see what happened to him. He's rounding Ingwer now on my replay. And was there contact with Bingham? Let's see.
Well, there's certainly been some
I missed
pretty
it.
big contact.
Yeah. He's straight into the pits. I guess at least that's the benefit of having an incident where he did, and he can get it repaired straight away, because I feel that's definitely a repair required. I see lifted panels everywhere.
Hannes van Wyk is now all over the back of Paul Venter. In fact, actually, that's the wrong way around. Paul Venter has got past Hannes van Wyk. We have unfortunately missed that with the Mike LaRue spin. But that Aston Martin is absolutely coming to the fore with Paul Venter right now. Track at 39 degrees, so 4 degrees cooler than what we had in qualifying, so possibly suiting that Aston a little bit better than the BM. BM, of course, hasn't been great on its tires historically, although with the latest version, I'm not sure if that has been sorted out or not. But Paul has now got to try and hunt down Mark van Rensburg, who is absolutely flying in that Ferrari up ahead.
He really is indeed. That gap is opening up quite significantly. Just seen in the chat as well, we had a DNF earlier, Martin Grunewald, and I see he's reporting that his internet is disconnected on him. So sorry to hear that, Martin.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. And may the internet gods be in your favor for the remaining rounds of the season. And there is one drop round, of course, when it comes to tallying the points up. But yeah, given that we're in round 3 of, what is it, 7 rounds? No, actually, it's far less. Apologies. It's only 5 rounds, so yeah, it doesn't... You got a good chance of seeing out the season now, I think, if you've only missed one. But yeah, it doesn't leave you anything in reserve. I forgot, of course, yeah, we're used to seasons of 7 or 8 rounds in length, but we've shortened them, which I prefer personally. The short seasons, we get 2 of them done in a 6-month period.
Yeah, definitely a fun way of doing things.
Looks like the closest battle on track right now is for the lead, and that's between Hannes and Paul. Well, sorry, not for the lead, for P2. Yeah, there's just such a massive gap between Paul and Mark van Rensburg up front. About 5+ seconds, I think. But yeah, Paul and Hannes running in battle for P2 here.
So just an update on Timothy Gomez, who we saw lose a bunch of positions in the space of a lap. He has not taken that lying down, and he is absolutely all over the back of Myberg as well. So we did see Myberg going up the inside at the bottom of the mine shaft and taking a position, but there's still only half a second between them, so we've got to keep an eye on that. De Beer was or is super close to Marks. Oh, going up the inside.
He's forced that really hard. It might be a compromise now. Though he seemingly shut the door quite nicely in front of Marks, so that should be safe.
Yeah, good overtake there from De Beer. A lot of clean overtakes, although I do see a bit of damage on the back of De Beer's McLaren as well. So we're seeing a lot of dents and dings, a lot of rubbing as racing is what I'm going to call it at the moment. Although, look how close. Look how close. He's coming
going
back
for a pass,
De Beer. Marks is going to go up the inside. Good move. Is he the switchback? Is the switchback on for De Beer?
I think Marks has it held.
Yeah, got him. So it does look like the McLaren is quicker in certain parts of the track, and then the Ferrari obviously in other parts. So
that's exactly what you want to see. Yeah.
Yep. pretty darn good battle here, and this is for 12th and 13th. These guys are absolutely giving it everything. Every position matters to each driver. Everybody's here for a dice.
Yeah, that's all that it is. Firm mid-pack battles here, but even at the tail end of the field, it's just, I guess, because we've got these divisions, and the more populated they are, the better, of course. You'll find drivers around your skill level and pace. What's Van Veek doing up front?
So close. He has about 30 centimeters between himself and Fenter going into the last corner. They were absolutely nose to tail. That Aston just seems to get out of the last corner a little bit better than the BMW. Maybe it's Fenter's line, I'm not sure. But there's, again, certain corners that BM just seems to be a little bit better. You saw out of turn 1 seemed to be slightly better than the Aston.
Yep.
The Aston seems to carry it better through 2. And then out of 3 here, it's now, you know, the BM comes back into its own. So it's just a little game of cat and mouse. But can Van Veek, I mean, if we go on board with Van Veek, you can see, you know, just how wide Paul is making the back of that Aston Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been on the bonnet cam here of Hannes, and he's just leaving no room for Hannes to even think about sneaking his nose in anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Kyalami is an extremely wide track, but these GT3 cars themselves are pretty wide vehicles. You can see how much Van Veek closes up on Fenter, but Fenter is a wily old fox. He will not be wanting to let Van Veek through a mistake. That is for darn sure. He will know the lines to take. He will know where to be defensive. He will know where a dive is likely to happen, if it's going to happen. Again, you see that initial out the corner of the slower corners. That Aston does seem to be a little bit better. Van Veek definitely quite squirrely through that section as well. But there you go. That Aston just pulls a little bit away, and the BM, I think, will be quicker down the straight, but it just won't be enough. He won't be able to make it up. And you know, turn 1, that's a prime overtaking opportunity. Closing up on the brakes. That BM does seem to be a bit better on the brakes, but from so far back, not going to happen.
I think he needs to be a lot closer if he's going to have any sort of move on offer.
Findlay and Bartle were dicing again. It looks like Findlay's got back in front of Bartle. We will see that flick around. Bartle in 10th now, and Findlay in 9th. So those two having a fantastic little battle, it looks like.
Indeed, just seeing some blue flags wave there in the background. So also just had some back marker traffic to deal with, but looks like they've got past that now.
And while Bartle and Findlay are battling, Roxanne, of course, Jason Luck has closed up on this as well. So Jason, you know, doing pretty well in that Porsche at the moment. He'll possibly on a bit of a recovery drive, just looking at the damage on his vehicle.
Yeah.
Sliding through that fast right-hander.
He has obviously opted to stay out there for that damage and not come in. So it'll be interesting to see if he does anything about it during his scheduled pit stop.
Doesn't seem to be affecting his pace. That's for certain.
Exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah, so I reckon he's probably just going to leave it as is.
Yeah, that Porsche will be slower in a straight line though than the McLaren. That's for certain. So we've often seen Jason having to make quite daring moves just because there's no. Although down the line shot, look at this.
That's
my
staying
goodness.
with him. I mean,
my goodness. How was there no contact there? There's
contact there now.
Oh goodness.
But, yeah, certainly. I don't know if that was the draft effect or what, but he certainly caught up and held it there, and he's now been overtaken by Marks. Oh, that's got it very wrong. And he recovers just offline there, letting a whole bunch of people through.
Jason is now back down to 16th, unfortunately. Van Wyk and Venter though. Oh, Venter's got very squirrely. It's given Van Wyk a chance to go side by side
Top
at
the hill.
top of the hill,
Yeah.
turning in. Who is going to come out on top? Oh, it looks like Venter
Venter's
somehow
just-
managed to
yeah.
recover that.
Van
I don't
Wyk
know
ran
how.
quite wide and sort of stayed wide out. I'm not sure if he was just fighting to keep the car in line.
No, it was the only place he had to go. So Venter got very squirrely on the exit of the S's on the left-hand side.
So pushed him
Put the
that
car
way.
sideways and was obviously very slow, but it only gave Van Wyk the opportunity to try and go around the outside, and of course it is slightly slower that way, but he was hoping that the poor exit from Venter would have given him the run around the outside. Didn't quite happen. Venter lives another day, still 3/10 between these guys, and a battle is absolutely still on. 52 minutes left of this race. Remember,
way to
these
go,
guys
Score.
do have to do a pit stop, but they can do what they like.
Indeed, we've seen quite a few, well, 4 people or so already having cleared their pit stops. I think those were early stops just to repair damage. We do know that Paul Venter likes to run late into the race. The first 2 rounds, I think he basically puts it on the last lap or so, second to last lap, right at the death. Van Wyk, I think traditionally likes to park it somewhere in the middle to late section of the race. But that may all change depending on who he has around him at the time. Whether you do an under or an overcut. Again, now at the top of the Leeuwkop hill, turning down through the mine shaft. And see Ross Bartle creeping up in the background as well, just while this battle's going on. I think he's closing that gap. Just looking back at James Stroud now, who's side by side with Jaco de Beer, and I think de Beer manages to hold off the McLaren of Stroud for now, but that's also Timothy Gomez's Ferrari in the background. Three-way battle for 12th. Roxanne Bartle getting really squiggly on exit of Ingwer there, but Donovan Marks wasn't quite close enough to capitalize. The run up to Barbecue here. Gap under half a second. The 2 McLarens face off here for a top 10 position. Oh, that's super close. There's an overlap now. Bartle just trying to squeeze as much as possible to leave a car's width. And good respect shown there with leaving that full car's width, but still maximizing as much track position as possible. And again, just sort of holding the middle of the track now at the top of the hill and then grabbing that inside line. Again, another experienced driver here, knowing racing lines, but also knowing defensive lines.
It's difficult to take your eyes off this front-running battle to see anything else, but Marks is now all over the back of of Bartle. Oh, runs very wide. We've seen that fast right-hander catch out a number of drivers here tonight, and Bartle gets to scamper off.
Yeah, that's relieved a
down
lot of the
road.
pressure.
Yeah, big time. Bartle, of course, was running super close behind Fridge Friendly. Their pace was very, very similar, but the contact between Bartle and I think it was Luck, unfortunately, has taken away that battle from Roxanne. However, still top 10, running very well.
Yep, just back on stream now at the top end with Paul Venter and Hannes van Veek. Battle for P2 still ongoing. Ever so close still though. Hannes just staying with Paul here. Getting
Both
down.
of these guys, you can see just how hard they are pushing track limits. I mean, not so much worried about cuts and getting penalties, but just
Using all the
Kyalami,
track.
there are corners that will bite you hard if you get it wrong, and these guys having to push things to the absolute limit to try and find any kind of advantage against their rival.
Super close here. Hannes almost just having a little look there and outside the side of Paul's Aston. And they run up the hill. Yeah, Hannes looks like he's got a good one actually. Through Sunset into Clubhouse. Oh, pulls out to the side, Hannes up the hill to Leukop, and he's got the inside line here, and this is going to be a pass.
Great move. Great move from Hannes van Veek. Gets that position back. Remember, he was ahead of Venter to start with. So claws back second for the moment. Now, will we see Van Veek scamper away? Having been so close behind Venter, it does seem to indicate that he has the pace over a full lap. Oh, do you see how wide Paul runs through? And it's just amazing to me that Aston is so compliant, going, basically onto the grass.
It certainly looks to be quite stable, considering how hard it's being pushed.
Shout out to our one and only Ford representative tonight, Mr. Moritz, in 8th position, running about 2 seconds, almost 2 seconds ahead of Fridge Findley. Fridge does seem to be catching him, I would say, but a great showing for the Ford, which has proved quite a tricky GT3 car to get your hands around and to get to grips with, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of fallen out of favor compared to last season, where I think.
Hang on, we've got. Sorry to interrupt. We've got Bartle, Boycer, and Bingham. The 3 Bs are very close to each other. Bingham and Boycer, of course, teammates, as you pointed out there, Ryan, and are now looking to put a move on Bartle, who seems to be struggling here a little bit tonight. Hasn't got the pace that we used to seeing from Ross. And you can see that. Yeah, it looks like Hardus definitely has the pace over Bartle. I mean, Bartle is maintaining that gap to Venter. It's been about 2 seconds. I mean, it was Van Veek, but to Venter. So his pace to Venter is about similar. So I tell you what, if Boycer and Bingham can work their way past Bartle, it's entirely possible that they will close that gap to Venter fairly quickly, and there could be some podiums in the mix for these two teammates.
Certainly. As we see the sun setting now at Kyalami, it makes for quite a picturesque scene. Ooh, and very wide goes Boyster off track. Just picking up some dust there. And Fence has gone wide as well. So a little bit of a mistake there by Paul Fenter. And I think that's lost him quite a bit of ground to Hannes van Veek now. And if anything, has put him under some pressure, or going to be developing some pressure with Bartel. The two McLarens now closest battle on track. This is Donovan Marks chasing Roxanne Bartel. That gap is remaining quite consistent though. That's about a half a second. Quite dissimilar lines though between Marks and Bartel. But seemingly that gap remains constant. Oh, into the pits goes Marks. Here we go. So he's the first out of the top 14 or so to pit. A little bit of an undercut here, just before the halfway mark of the race. And I see Hardest Voice has also just nipped through the pits. We missed that just before. So that has brought him out of the battle with Bingham and co. He's opted for a different strategy to his teammate. Mr. Bingham, who remains up in P5 now, and he's very close to the back of Paul Fenter now. So it's now a Bartel Fenter Bingham battle.
Yeah, it is strange to have seen Boycer jumping in for tire or for a pit so early. I wonder if in that, but he's in the Ferrari. I would have thought the Ferrari would have been really good on tires. So an early pit stop is surprising to me. I've been trying to work out why.
The only thing I can think of is if he thought he was being held up by the teammate Bingham and they just wanted to run a different strategy, perhaps. Just to...
Yeah.
But...
Could be.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Bartel is pushing that McLaren incredibly hard. Got very squirrely coming out of that corner. Yeah, maybe it is a contra strategy. Maybe it's we have seen last season the undercut was quite powerful at certain tracks. I don't know if Kyalami is one of those. I mean, we'll find out clearly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have thought it would be.
Just see Mark Sutton executing a move here and getting past Timothy Gomez for P14, just after Ingwe corner there. This must have been a mistake from Timothy Gomez because that move looked too easy. So otherwise, good job, Mark Sutton, getting it past nice and cleanly. So the LNR Banana Express, Aston Martin keeps going. And the gap now. I see Sean Bingham's in the pits. I was going to say, he just dropped off the back of Paul Fenter there. Lost sight of him, but he's pulled in. So he will be clearing that at any second. Fridge makes his way past for that free position gain. For now, temporarily, of course. Venomworks Racing up into P4. So it looks like Hannah's heading through Sunset here, where he's cleared his pit stop. P5. Gap to Fridge is 30, or just under 30 seconds roughly.
Yeah, so Van Rensburg pitting early as well, as you say. Well, actually, we say early. There's 35 minutes left, so just over halfway.
That seems to me a decision that's very confident.
Most people have pitted halfway as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's only what five drivers who haven't pitted so
far.
They're
all piling in.
Yeah, so it must be the track temperature. And also remember the temperature is changing, everyone. So we started around 40 degrees. Track temperature is down to 37. I know it doesn't seem like too much of a difference, but that will be affecting pressures. And certainly these Pirellis, these GT3s run on, are quite pressure sensitive. So, I'm not surprised. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the guys will go halfway and put some new boots on.
Especially being sunset, you can actually see how much of the track is now just in permanent shadow. So those track temperatures will continue to cool. Just a question from the chat. Did Anthony Moritz go into the pits? Yes, he has pitted. So the leaderboard tower there, everywhere you see green, just to the right of the driver number, that means they've completed their stop. So we can actually see who hasn't. In the orange ones, Richard Berra out in his Ferrari for P9. Roxanne Bartle in McLaren, who has got, is that Bingham? That is Bingham indeed, behind her. For company, has not yet pitted. Bridge Finlay is pulling into the pits as we speak. And then Paul Fenter and Ross Bartle, essentially the battle for the lead of this race, currently anyway, in its current state. They have both not pitted. I'm fully expecting Paul to do a splash and dash at the end, given his style.
What sort of lap times are Bartle and Fenter doing compared to Van Rensburg?
So, Bartle's last lap, 143.2. Fenter, 143.17, very similar. Van Rensburg's last lap was 147.5, but that must have just been an outlap. Yeah. So we'll have to see when he rounds again.
And what about Hardest Boyso, who I believe pitted early? He was sort of the earliest of the front runners to pit.
He's doing quick laps, 142.1. He's flying right now.
So he's flying, which is why he's ahead of Bingham. So he pitted ahead of Bingham, and he's quite a bit ahead. So, Fenter's off. Fenter is off at our favorite corner. He comes back on, but that will have lost him a bunch of time. The gap's gone from 0.3 all the way to 1.5. Luckily, that Aston Martin is very compliant over the grass and gravel, so lives to fight again another day. That could have ended very badly if you were in the McLaren, for example.
Yeah, he just did
Okay,
his stint of farming. Yeah.
so Boycer is going very, very quickly.
Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on from Rensburg. I think he's approaching Ingwe very shortly. In fact, he's just sailed through now. Mark Rensburg's got a 142 dead. And that was versus Boyce's 142.1. They're also both flying in comparison now to Ross Bartle and Paul Pinto, who are doing very slow laps up front, 143s and a half, 144s. Almost 2 seconds a lap slower. Which would actually then convince me that it would be the right move to go in sooner rather than later, surely. Put on some fresh boots. To see what they decide. And a little aggressive use of curb there. That's Paul's line, basically, by the looks of it, through Ingwe.
Yep. But in that Aston, apart from the previous lap, he does seem to be able to push extremely hard.
The blue flag's being waved here for, is that Moritz in front of Fenter? Possibly, looks like the Ford. Yeah, just getting waved out the way there. At Fridge Findlay now, he was getting around a Ferrari of Crocamp, but I believe that's just a back marker, so not for position. He is hunting down Mark Sutton. We can just see in frame Findlay in the background now on screen. Battle for P11. It's the McLaren of Roxanne Bartle and Richard Beer behind, sort of in the mid-pack here, top end, that haven't pitted. Their lap times, Roxanne's 144.9 versus her best of 144.1. Richard Beer 145.5 versus his best of 143.8, so they're also doing about 2 seconds slower than his best. To be assigned to come in. With Fenter, meanwhile, it may seem slow, but he is consistent. Last few laps, all around 142. 142 and a half, roughly. It'll be interesting to see who bites first here between Bartle and Fenter at the top end.
And then where they come out, of course.
Yeah.
It looks like Boyce is dropping back from Fun Lake at the moment. Looks like it's dropped about a second. So Findlay is pretty close to Sutton. Stroud is pretty close to Gomez. And then, of course, we have our Fenter-Bartle battle. Those seem to be the closest battles on track.
Speaking of that, that Fenter-Bartle gap has come right down. 0.3 a second now.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to be able to work his way through on Bartle. Ross, like Fenter, a seasoned campaigner. It's unlikely either of these two drivers are going to be making any massive mistakes. To find your way through on track when while Fenter does seem quicker, you know, he seems to be 2 or 3 tenths a lap quicker, and that's not going to present itself in one big, amazing, brilliant opportunity.
Got Sutton all over the back of Bridge Findlay there. In fact, there was a big overlap. I assume Findlay was the one in front, so he's currently staying in front. They were side by side there, heading through Ingwe in the final corner.
Ooh, Stroud looks to have made a move on Gomez, but goes
track,
into the
though.
gravel.
Yeah.
And then just manages to get around. Goodness me. That was adventurous.
Risky move. So it looks like Richard Beer has gone into the pits. He was running alongside Roxanne Bartle. Of the two that hadn't pitted, Roxanne's opted to stay out for another X number of laps. Meanwhile, at the top end, Ross Bartle and Paul Fenter. Gap is maintaining consistent, just under half a second. Mark van Rensburg is 22 seconds behind Paul Fenter. Hannes is an extra 13 behind that. I'm trying to work out if they had to pit now, Paul Fenter or Ross Bartle, they'd probably come out around about P5-ish. Depending on how quick their stop is, of course. So I'm willing to bet it's going to be a splash dash for both of them, I guess, the longer we go on like this. Running very wide there. The exits of Ingwe Fenter. He's looking up the inside here of Bartle. He's gone for the dive, but the switchback, it's not going to happen.
Through.
Yeah.
So eventually, Fenter has managed to figure his way through. Now, does Bartle jump into the pits for his pit stop and see if he can get an undercut going on Fenter?
Mm-hmm. Could be a logical option.
I mean, it did seem to work initially, at least, for Hannes for Hardwick Boyser. But maybe given the given how little time is left, track down to 36 now. Given how little time is left, I wonder if it's even worth trying. But yeah, we've got both Bartles and Fenter. They're the only people who haven't pitted as yet. Everybody else has done their mandatory pit stop.
Oh, here we go. Does Bartle go in? Fenter has to stay out now, having executed that pass, so it's really just a case of, does Bartle hang left? Nope. He does not. Mark van Rensburg has gone even quicker, and I think has increased his fastest lap time to 141.98.
I mean, must say, Van Rensburg has so far been absolutely flawless this whole race.
Yep, kept his nose out of trouble. It's like a pretty squeaky clean Ferrari, that is. He's just getting past his back mark of Gomez right now. He gets nicely out of the way.
So
textbook run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw last season that Van Rensburg in the Lambo had prodigious pace, but struggled to convert with mistakes where the Lambo is just very unforgiving. Now, the Ferrari is definitely more forgiving than the Lambo. Sometimes not got the same ultimate pace, but, you know, it's the kind of car that will or should allow... It should be a bit easier, should we say, to convert opportunities. So not too many battles happening now on track as we head to the last 20 minutes of this race.
Yeah.
Closest battle is actually for that first second Fenta Bartle at the moment, but Fenta's definitely got the pace on Bartle now and is pulling away quite steadily.
Yeah, so it's ever so slowly that gap opening. But yeah, as you say, the field is pretty much spread out now, so it's all about where Paul Fenta and Ross Bartle are going to come out when they do eventually pit. And I see with both Mark van Rensburg and Hannes van Wyk, even Hardest Boyser to a degree behind, they're all doing quicker laps right now compared to Paul Fenta and Ross Bartle, but that's somewhat to be expected. But that is going to place... Oh, it's a little off-track excursion Bartle goes there. But yeah, it's going to place pressure on just how soon they do their pit stop. Or perhaps it won't if they're by this stage not opting to take tyres and just do a quick stop.
Yep. By this stage, I imagine it's got to be a splash and dash, surely. Dennis Gillett is all over the back of the
Hmm.
bod.
I've just been silently admiring this battle here. It's definitely hotting up here, the battle of the McLarens.
Gillett's definitely a lot quicker than the bod at the moment.
It's even pulled out of the slip, not even barely getting onto the straight here. Running up
Come a,
Hawthorne.
come a little bit from behind. Oh, careful, gents.
It's
No,
not like that.
No, that was not the right time to turn in. Somehow Gillett makes away with that one though.
Yeah,
The
I'm
pod
on.
does get going again. Yeah, difficult to say in from a camera angle we saw and in real time.
Yeah, we
but
need to review that offline, and well, if it gets submitted, that is. But it's just difficult to tell who was most at fault there. But I do feel that there was a turn in there excessively, perhaps, with the car up on the inside.
Yeah, looked like to me there wasn't enough space given, but you know what we see in the commentary booth is not necessarily what's actually happened.
Yep. Timothy Gomez now on marks. It's quite close battle. P14.
And we've got a very close battle for P16. De Beer and Bera. Ooh, running very wide, and that's going to give better run.
Going to give him a run, but
it's not going to happen.
Not
going to happen. Unfortunately, we saw that earlier with Van Wyk, if I remember correctly, trying to go around the outside of Venter, and it didn't quite work out.
to be also just making sure no invites to have a dive were left hanging. He hugs an inside line there. Oh, there goes Spirit up alongside De Beer. A little bit of contact. Oh, an off track.
I think that was an unforced error. I don't think
Yeah.
there was any contact there.
Agreed. Managed just to keep it going in the right direction, but yeah, Richard Beer scamps through. A little flash of the lights there, perhaps some frustration being felt by Echo de Bear, or else he's just saying bye. Dennis Killett, meanwhile, up in P7 battle for, well, with Roxanne Bartle, neck and neck.
Of course, while this is a battle on track for position, remember Bartle has
not
not
pitted,
pitted
yeah.
yet, with just 11 minutes left. I'll tell you what, the Black Owl Sim Sports drivers are definitely leaving this right to the very end.
Yeah.
Gillett running very wide through Crowthorne. That is definitely not the quickest way through there. Must have outbraked himself.
Yeah. In the pits is Paul Fenter.
So finally, Paul taking a pit stop. Bartle is going to be Ross Bartle's going to be the last man out there. You will be very aware, yes, I'd make a pit stop. I'm not worried about that at all. This is hardly Ross's first rodeo. But interesting that Paul has gone in earlier.
Indeed. Oof, just dodging traffic there, hardest boys. Running
Very
wide.
He was trying to get the position.
This is position. It is, yeah.
So Boycer is through, but is he through? Fenter. Oh, some hard contact
into
there.
the gravel. That's going to slow him down seriously.
Yup. And where's Bingham? No, Bingham's quite far behind. Those are all back markers.
Yeah.
That you see around Boycer.
And that's essentially what caused that kerfuffle there, was Paul Fenter just coming out in and amongst all that traffic and then fighting Boycer for position.
Has he gone off? Fenter's gone off. Fenter's in the gravel.
Oh no!
He's off.
He's even come to a standstill.
What's that
Oh
for?
no! I'm going to go back
Maybe
a minute, just to
out
see
of
what's
fuel?
going on here. No, surely not. I've got him on replay now. He's just exited the pits. This is also going to catch that battle of Boycer. There we go. So he ran wide. And what happens here? Oh no, it just doesn't catch it in time. Enough for the replay. Silly feature. This looks like a DNF in the making. He's just sitting off track here. And there's the jump to pits, and there it is.
Guy. So you're in the gravel with his wheel turned slightly to the left.
Yeah.
It's almost like something disconnected, like a screen or something. Generally, if we see a wheel or something along those lines disconnect, then then you get quite a large accident because you can't steer or you can't brake or something like that.
Drive-through penalty for Ross Bartle.
Ross Bartle. That must be for speeding in the pit lane.
Oh.
Goodness me. Okay, so Bartle third at the moment, but with a drive-through, he's going to fall back probably to around 6th position, I would say.
So both Paul Fenter and Ross Bartle, having expected
characteristic errors.
Yeah.
Roxanne is now in the pits. I mean, there's a chance that Roxanne could finish ahead of her brother here.
Yeah.
With the drive-through. I'm not sure if there's not enough time to just take your drive-through post-race.
No, you have to complete that within a couple laps.
It is a drive-through, not a stop-go. So actually, maybe you should come on ahead of Roxanne.
Maybe like 20 odd seconds, I guess, detriment.
Yeah. Still with Paul Fenter again, very, very strange. Like,
curious to hear what happened. I'm sure it'll come out in Discord or something. And into the pits comes Bartle for his drive-through.
Yeah, I don't know if Fenter races in VR, but that's the kind of error that would happen in VR, or a screen disconnect, because it was just such a gentle. Like, he was clearly on the brakes, slowing the car down, went into the gravel very deliberately, didn't hit the wall or anything, so his pedals were connected to be able to do that. Maybe a wheel disconnect, but then you would have seen it going all over the place as he hit the brakes. I don't know. Very strange. We'll have to let us know. Maybe a Windows update that popped across the screen or something.
The shredded Windows updates. That's happened to me at least once. Back on Windows, maybe it was as old as Windows 7, but it's just etched into my memory that these updates that you think you paused or whatever.
So I think Bartle's come out into a net 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Net 5th, but he is very close behind Sean Bingham. 6/10 between them, so potentially he could get back to 4th. Only got 6 minutes to do it in though, and he won't be on the freshest of tires. It looks like Mr. Moritz in that Ford is very close behind Roxanne Bartle. Of course, Roxanne has just taken her pit stop.
Yeah, so that's brought that down right up to the half a second-ish marker. Ford versus McLaren.
Ross Bartle dropping back actually from Sean Bingham there. The gap already 1.3 seconds. So I think Sean on better tires there.
Headlights fully on now for a number of cars here, reflecting off the track surface. Definitely getting a lot darker and a lot cooler now. 4 minutes left in this race.
Yeah, Roxanne does seem to have the measure of Moritz at the moment. It's whether she can keep her cool and keep that 9th position. Must say, Dennis Gillett in 6th position. That is a fantastic result for Dennis. He's driven absolutely wonderfully tonight, from what I can remember.
Yeah.
Second quickest McLaren behind Ross Bartle. That's no mean feat.
Definitely a solid performance. Very consistent.
And in the Ferrari as well.
Yep. Two names
Ooh,
we don't
hang on.
normally associate with the top 10. It's a good finish. What have you seen?
Anthony Moritz very close behind Bartle. That Ford is so fast on the straight, so down the mine shaft, he really closed up on Bartle, and the gap's like 2/10 now. But I don't know that he's going to have, each time we get to any kind of twisties. Ooh, drive through.
Oh no, Vera.
For Vera.
Oh, as I see, he's just gone off track now as well. Just Just on an action replay there of the track off. Looks like it was an unforced error.
So actually, Bartle must have been a drive-through for track cuts, not
Right,
for speeding in
speeding.
the pit lane.
Yeah,
That would have been a stop go 30.
yeah.
Made a mistake there.
Used up too many sweeties.
Indeed. We haven't seen many drivers do that tonight. As I said, generally Kyalami is fairly forgiving with those. Although the exit of the S's, I know, is like it's such an annoyance, that one, because it genuinely doesn't give you any extra lap time. It's the kind of place you run wide just because your tires are absolutely knackered.
Beer is going to get past
just-
Beer now. He would have anyway with the drive-through, but that's
Yes.
track position. Anthony Moritz is... Oh, it's Van Rensburg, our leader, coming through.
Yep, but he's very close
He
behind
is
the
battling
back
for
of Bartle.
position. Yeah.
And closes up heavily down the mine shaft to
Yeah.
Bartle because he's just got so much more speed. Bartle goes very defensive.
Hoping this is going to be
Understandably
incident-free.
But now you see through here, Bartle will pull a little bit on Moritz. You can see Bartle running very defensive lines, trying to desperately hang on to that 9th position. Now down the start-finish straight, I would imagine Moritz is going to have the pace. 27 seconds left. We'll get one more lap in. Can Roxanne hold on?
I tell you now, this gap, Hannes van Veek is caught up all the way but to the back of Mark van Rensburg as well.
How has that happened?
Don't actually know.
Van Rensburg was all over the back of
And
Bartle
he fell back.
and
Yeah,
Moritz, and he
correct.
fell back. I wonder why. I wonder if that was just to not get tangled up
In the blue flags, yeah.
in the blue flags.
That's put him under a hell of a lot of pressure from Van Veek.
Yeah, so he's kind of picked his poison here in
Yeah.
that he's rather dealing with Van Veek for one more lap, or for
Rather
one lap, I
than-
should say,
yeah.
rather than trying to work his way through that back marker battle.
Maybe
They're
he
not
has the
great,
confidence
are
to
they?
hang on to it. They're
I mean,
both Venom works.
Moritz.
No.
So he's not giving Moritz the space to try and attack Bartle.
No,
Okay,
Moritz
so they
is
are both
for
Venom works.
Oxford Racing, yeah. And then Venom works is Van Veek and Van Rensburg.
Right. Okay, Bartle much cleaner this lap.
Oh, we have a stationary
Taking
car
more.
on track. What was it rolling? It looks like car number
Takes it.
22, Richard Bera. Okay, maybe he's... Not sure what was happening there. He's running again.
Okay, well, it's going to be Roxanne does manage to fend off Moritz, and it looks
There
like Van
goes.
Rensburg
They're
is
doing
going
a photo finish.
photo finish
That's
from
what
the
it is.
teammate there. That's what it is. It's fantastic stuff.
Excellent.
Well done,
stuff.
Venomworks. That was a master class from you two gentlemen tonight, and very well deserved, Mark. I feel like you were slightly robbed a couple of times last season with a few little mistakes here and there, but that is a fantastic victory, and you should be utterly proud of that.
Dudes. Hannes, Hardest Boyser as well, picks up P3 for Team TTA, and Sean Bingham, his teammate, picks up P4, and then Ross Bartle, for having cleared that drive-through penalty, will take home P5. Dennis Killett's still out there. Going
Nothing
home
in the
for a very
chat?
strong. Nothing, no word of Paul Fenter.
Yeah. Okay.
Dennis Gillett rounds the finish line now to take home a very well-deserved P6. But Mark Sutton as well, another excellent finish, P7. On to Bod. Also bringing it home, P8. To make matters worse for Richard Bera, he's picked up a plus 32nd on top of his drive-through.
Oh wow.
He will drop a few positions. Roxanne Bartle is fending off Anthony Moritz, rounding the final corner, and they will take
Wow,
home.
they still had a lap to go.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
they had to
Okay.
do one more. P9 and P10, rounding out your top 10. Yeah, all the action right at the death there. That is how they finish up. Right, so that was an evening. Round 3, Kyalami done and dusted. Next round out for the GT3 in 2 weeks' time will be at Laguna Seca, one of my favorite tracks. But then in between, we're going to be at Road Atlanta for the Volvos. I'm very much looking forward to that track, as I'm sure a number of other drivers are as well, just from the chatter on Discord.
Oh yeah, Road Atlanta is an absolutely epic track. If you don't like Road Atlanta, I'm not sure that we can be friends. It is just the best track.
Indeed, quite the roller coaster. Lots of elevation changes, twisties, straights. Oh, got a lot going for it. But yeah, that's been an evening. Thanks very much for joining me in the booth, Nick. And thanks very much to all of our viewers as well in chat for supporting us live and for viewing afterwards as well. Anyone new as well, if you don't know how to join us and you want to get involved in all of this, the links are in the description of the YouTube vid, but otherwise it's simracesa.co.za, and then just head on over to our Discord server where we organize all the racing. You can do your sign-ups in Discord, and then you can certainly get involved and just chatter away and ask us any questions. But that's it. Thanks very much again, Nick, and we'll catch you on in the next round. Ciao for now.
Yep. Ciao, ciao.